Hello, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night.
And good night.
Yeah.
All right,
What
come
is it,
on,
Higgsy?
slides.
One?
It's 1 o'clock in the morning. All
One
right,
in
I'm
the
ready to
morning.
go.
The dedication.
Here we go.
Unbelievable.
Let's throw let's go some music.
Welcome, everyone, to the AI Powered Workplace Expert Series. You just heard some beautiful AI music with Jimmy Vaughn on the background vocals. He might deny that, but it's actually him on the background vocals. Right, Jimmy?
He's hiding from us, I think.
Yeah, he's hiding from us. He's
I
hiding
feel
from
like
us.
we need to do a version with K-pop Demon Hunters and Microsoft.
Absolutely. I support that. I support that. Or at least give everyone the opportunity to come on camera and do some serious air guitar. And like we'll
Yeah.
put on wigs and do like yeah, wild stallion style. Excellent.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to Higgsy, good night because it is 1 a.m. in Australia. Somehow I feel like I still haven't recovered from last week, ISE, and ISE is the topic that we're going to be speaking a whole lot about. Today we have a couple of very special guests on the call as well. I think it's going to be a fun one. I don't think we're going to use the full 2 hours. But I think this is going to be a good one to learn a couple of new things. This is an expert series, so if you have any technical questions, please raise them in the chat. We have all the experts here, so whatever you need to know, please let us know. Higgsy, you want to take us to the
Absolutely.
agenda of the day?
Yeah, for sure. We've got an absolutely jam-packed full agenda. I am so pumped to get through this. Again, as you said, Michelle, we've got some incredible speakers from our engineering team. Brennan is back. He was here 2 experts series ago when we did a deep dive in deploying Microsoft Places. So there's some exciting announcements that were made recently around Microsoft Places and also as well as Teams shared devices and also Teams Premium. So we're going to unpack those. We've also got Yoojin as well from our engineering team, who's going to be talking about some really cool stuff that we announced inside of the meeting rooms, particularly around a new agent that has spawned, as well as also Elaine. And Elaine's going to be talking about some of the new enhancements around voice enrollment. They were also announced at ISE as well. And then Michelle will break it down. All those hero announcements, there are a lot of them. So we'll tail off the end of today and with those announcements, and then give everyone here the opportunity to ask their questions. But as always, with every experts workshop, we want to make sure that your questions get heard. So throw them in the chat, and we will definitely make sure that we can get to them. Obviously, with the engineering team, there's no better time to throw those questions in the chat. Jimmy, you're going to help me out next workshop. I think this 1 a.m. thing, it's good now because I think I'm still on Barcelona time, but I'm going to need you for the next one.
Yeah, I think me and Michelle, we got the next one. We'll take over and we'll cover everything the same way that you do. Thanks, Higgsy, for 1 a.m. It's 10 a.m. here, and I think I'm still asleep.
Exactly.
I hear you,
exactly.
man. I hear you.
Let me remind everyone that we do not disclose any NDA stuff here. We do want to post all of these videos on YouTube. If we talk NDA, we cannot post them, so your friends and peers won't be able to use them. We won't be talking about any roadmap. If you have a roadmap question, please make sure you ping Jimmy. He will answer all of them for you in a split second. In all seriousness, go to ak.ms/roadmap. If you need to have, if you have a special question, don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us. Higgsy, we do this every month, but what is the expert series?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is really a program that we put together for you, the partner community, and we have chosen topics that you have nominated. You let us know what you want to hear about, and obviously there was a whole bunch of announcements around ISE. Everyone wants to know, what happened at ISE, what was said. So what better way to then obviously bring the technical crew in to talk about all things that got announced. Next one, we're not going to tell you just yet. You've got to stay until the very end, and we'll tell you what the next expert series is all about. But the best part is that you only got to register once. So now that you've registered for this one, we'll move this session out to next month's in March, and that way you'll be able to have your calendar updated with that next session. As we said, we do record these. We want to make sure that this is an asset that you can refer to, or if you've got colleagues that missed the session today, encourage them to register for the next one and share the link to the Teams Rooms Tech Talk channel that we have on YouTube, where this recording will be going. Again, we run these across multiple time zones. So this is obviously the time zone for your session. I also run this for the Asia time zones as well. So I'll be doing this again at 10 o'clock my time, which is in about 9 hours. And then again for the Southeast Asia as well. So we do this multiple times just to make sure that everyone gets to participate. But this one is an extra special one. Let's bring back to the stage Brennan. Brennan also joined us at ISE, where he obviously ran a number of sessions with us on the booth, talking all things Microsoft Places. Good morning to you, Brennan.
Hey, Higgsy. Good evening or good morning to you too. I guess we can say that, right? Because it's 1 a.m. and
totally.
Yeah.
It works.
Great to see everybody. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
I'm happy
Fantastic.
that we can take some time to discuss our favorite topic, the most favorite topic of everyone here on the call. Let's talk licensing, because quite a lot of things happened.
Absolutely. And before we give the mic over to Brennan, there's a couple of other less bigger announcements around the licensing, but still very important. And obviously what those changes were impacting Teams Premium, Teams Enterprise for those that have eSKUs and are leveraging Teams, events, and obviously places as well. So a lot of these changes were helping. We received a lot of feedback from US partners as well as also customers that they wanted places to be easier to consume, easier to enable, quicker to turn on, and not be blocked by having to get the Teams premium license SKU. We also had features such as town halls that many of our customers and webinars that wanting to use them, but again, it was a feature and function of that Teams premium license. Jimmy's thrown that link in the chat there for you if you want to get a recap of all of the licensing announcements, but I'm going to give you the skinny of it right now. So first of all, we've got the town hall and webinars. This is the advanced events moving into the Teams enterprise license. So if you've got E3, E5, E1, wherever you've got that Teams SKU, you'll have access now to obviously have Teams webinars and Teams live events with an attendee cap of up to 3,000. Now, this is really exciting because previously it was only 1,000. Now it's 3,000, and it's now part of your license SKU. Now, what happens if you want to host events that have more than that? You can purchase one-off attendee packs, which increases the webinar limit or the town hall limit for that particular event. So when you're scheduling this event and going through your Teams client and configuring up your webinar or town hall, you'll be able to see when you've reached that attendee cap. So obviously you've got people registering for these events and so forth. When you reach that threshold and you go, oh no, we've hit 3,000, we're going to need more attendee capacity packs, you're able to purchase these just same way that you purchase licensing today through even through the M365 admin portal. You are able to acquire these, add them on for your event. And then lastly, from a licensing change as well, is obviously we've still got the Teams Premium SKU. Just because we've taken places away from the premium SKU and now part, as Brennan's going to talk about in just a moment, as part of the Teams Enterprise stack, as well as also taking away events and town halls, we've still got lots of value inside of that Teams Premium license SKU, and we just want to highlight that here. Particularly things like the Teams Teams Phone queuing app as well. That's a very popular one. Intelligent Recap is still a function that is part of that Premium license SKU, and of course all these security advancements as well around meeting protection, even customized branding and so forth. So that Premium license SKU still has a lot of value, and we still strongly encouraged in considering that for yourselves, but also your customers as well. But obviously the hero announcement from this, Brennan, is that we've been taking places out of that premium SKU and we've moved it across to Teams Enterprise. How about we go through all the places updates? And I know there's a lot because it wasn't just the licensing as well. There's also been some feature announcements as well. I'll throw the slides over to you.
Thanks, Higgsy. All right, lots to unpack here. Look forward to spend the next 25, 30 minutes kind of walking through everything. Kind of 4 key area topics that we want to cover. One is location intelligence. Some of you have begun to see and hear this narrative of value, really ultimately what we're trying to enable for our customers across M365 and Copilot. Obviously, license announcements is the big headline. New public roadmap items is also important to understand how these things all compile to create new types of value and experience across Teams and Calendar and Copilot. And then lastly, I think it's continued emphasis on the extensibility of places, advancements we're making in the Graph APIs such that you as our partners can think about creating experiences on top of and with everything we have going on. So let's dive in. All right. First and foremost, really want to embrace this mentality of enabling location intelligence into Graph and ultimately across Copilot. And what do I mean by that? Places and our team is really responsible for harboring or taking this building, location, floor, rooms, desk, all this data that exists across our customers' real estate portfolio and putting that into M365 and ultimately so Copilot can reason on top of that. There's the 2 foundational dimensions to how we think about that. Spatial data, that's just as I said, buildings, floors, rooms, desks, etc. Often that comes from a system of record, a space that our customers have, or in many cases, maybe they're looking to just manage the real estate in some of these spaces within the Places Management Portal. But it's really important to begin our customer's journey or help them start this journey just by adding the buildings. That's like step 1. You'll continue to hear us say this this year, as we said last year, of getting these buildings enabled is the first step in enabling location intelligence. Second is location context, or really about workplace presence. Who's here with me today? The role of the workplace and the purpose of the workplace is really to create in-person connection and collaboration so we can accomplish things together as a team. So understanding who's here with me today is a foundational piece of value that we're focused on. And I think just to make sure that everybody's also aware of, like, how do we talk about our priorities of what we're trying to enable? There's 3 things that we have to do. We have to be really, really good at in order to enable workplace and location intelligence. One is meeting the users, meeting the employees where they are. That goes without saying, but that's in Microsoft Calendar, that's in Microsoft Teams, to make us feel more confident about my day in the office or my decision to go into the office on each and every week. So really about like meeting them where they are. I don't have to go to a separate app is really job number one. Job number two is how do I just search and find space? And you'll continue to see some advancements here. Part of the licensing announcements are meant to streamline that even further. And then also some of the roadmap items I'll share with you will further build upon and create new opportunities or improved experiences for how we search and find space. And then lastly, it's all about human connection and collaboration. So how do we create new opportunities with connection and collaborate, or through connection and collaboration in the office via workplace presence? So like these are the three things we have to do well. It's important that we articulate these to our customers so they understand our priorities. There's a ton of things that we can do in this category of workplace technology. These are the three things that we believe are most valuable and most impactful to the modern workplace experience. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Workplace or places related licensing changes. I think as hopefully some of you, most of you, all of you have heard that the single biggest update is that we are moving the Places Finder, so that modern room search and reservation experience available both in classic Outlook and or the modern calendar surfaces, and the Places app into kind of core M365 licensing. So if you are licensed for calendar, you're licensed for Exchange, then those surfaces and experiences will now be available to all users across our customers' organizations. What does that mean for our partners? Is that today, our customers, and we've heard this loud and clear at ISE, the moment we flipped this switch, I was like, this is a no-brainer. I need to go start setting up my buildings, my floors, my rooms, getting pictures, reorganizing my attributes, even rethinking naming conventions for how rooms are set up and established across the buildings are all opportunities for our partners to support our customers. What this also means, and it also ties into partner value, is map-based experiences effectively will become will become a part of these core space-based experiences across the Places app, and as you'll see here shortly, within Calendar as well. So if a customer has a map, we have integrations that we're continuing to expand in the market, but that map can now be enabled across into the Microsoft experiences without additional or without premium licensing. This is just transformational in terms of creating a better space, room, and desk reservation experience. So how does licensing work? For those that are not familiar, we are moving, as Higgsy and Michel shared, away from a per user license in Teams Premium to a space-based license. So the existing Teams Shared Device license is being renamed this Teams Shared Space license. That license remains $8. And when a customer chooses that license for purposes of Places, they'll receive effectively 4 space licenses that are created or allocated to be assigned to a resource account. So $8 for licenses, $2 a desk, or $2 a room is the easiest way to think about it. And the goal and the outcome here for our customers is like, hey, I need to go I need this value at a certain building. The ask question is, well, then how many desks do you have? And then it's very easy to transact and move forward. Lastly, what is the value that's attributed to that license? And it really comes down to the ability to book a desk in advance or measure the value of analytics or occupancy attributed to that space itself. So desk level occupancy and utilization and or room is now what's behind that license. What is important to call out here, that's not specific on this slide, the Places Management Portal remains available to all customers. That is not a premium experience. That's not a license experience. The ability to go into the Places Management Portal, set up and manage your Places directory is available to everybody. If you have a customer who's already purchased Teams Premium in the past, and they're enabling Places, there's no change to their current licensing. So on April 1st, those users who have Places today will continue to see and have those Places experiences available to them. Only at such a time that that Teams Premium license comes up for renewal and then they renew is when they'll have to think about making that shift. For some of our customers, that may be 3 years from now before they have to even worry about that. So there's no change in that experience for. All right. I'm sure we'll get questions here in the chat and then towards the end of the call, so happy to address those. Just as a quick reminder of what do these experiences look like for those of you who are less familiar. First and foremost, workplace coordination in the calendar, the modern calendar is this is foundational to the product. It was in GA. It's always been available to all of our customers, but just really focus on that value creation of who's going to be where and when, what's going on in the office today. It starts with work plan and workplace coordination, and that starts with setting up your building. So really, like, customers want this, get your buildings up. That then translates into the Places Finder experience, attributing rooms to those buildings, moving away from that room list hierarchy, set up an Exchange into a formal Places directory is super key, or is really a foundational first step of getting the Places Finder enabled. We have thousands of customers who have started to set up and enable the Places Finder that have been gated or limited by the licensing within their tenant. So there's a backlog effectively of customers who have started this and begin to poke around with the Places Finder. I want to see what it is. I want to test the experience, but are going to need to scale and get all of their rooms into Places Finder. So this is really key to supporting and enabling these experiences and how we help our customers do that. Lastly, then the Places app. Why this is so important is that we continue to see a good amount, almost the majority of all usage of Places is attributed to this Places app or Places Explore page. Why? Is because some customers remain and plan to remain in Classic Outlook, and therefore they're not leveraging the modern calendar experience where you get the Places card and you can do a lot of these actions naturally with where the user is in calendar. You need to be able to come to the room right now. So this is really important to think about how do we make sure that the buildings are set up so the Places Explorer page is set up as well, and then you can begin to light up these experiences. And we'll talk about some additional updates to this page here in a few short minutes. Michel.
Brennan, can we take time for a couple of questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Is that okay? Okay, good stuff. By the way, your audio is breaking up just a little bit.
Okay.
First question, is Places included in the MTR Pro license, either with or without an additional booking panel by the door? I think this is mostly for the scenarios where there's both an MTR in the room and a panel outside. Because previously it was the case that if you had an MTR in the room with an MTR Pro license, the panel was also licensed. Has that changed, or is it still the same?
It's still the same.
Okay, good stuff. Easy one. Another one, had a customer come up with they still have a number of spaces in their estate with zero licenses applied, no MTR Pro, no panel, no shared device license. They're currently available to be booked in Room Finder and have room resource accounts. If they flip to Places Finder and build out their Places hierarchy, will those rooms be bookable in Finder, or will they be required to buy the shared device or shared space license?
Well, before you answer that, Brennan, let's address the ghost in the room. What customer has no MTR, no Teams license?
Thanks, Jimmy.
I think that's the bigger challenge that we need to uncover with that. But Brennan, tell us, will they need a shared space license for that?
They will not, right? So all like foundational desk reservations via the resource accounts and Exchange remains just there's no takebacks here, right? This is just a better room booking experience. Only when a customer wants to enable auto release policies on that room or measure the occupancy in that room is when that license is required. So that's just super clear. Now, I think what a strong observation from last week is we were seeing this is even crazier. Back to Jimmy's point. Customers who have never had rooms in Exchange, period, full stop, are now migrating and saying, okay, now we want to begin to put our unmanaged rooms into Exchange to enable these experiences. And we had one customer that's 8,000 rooms across their state, and they're saying we're beginning to move everything into Microsoft. So we're seeing new customers come into this environment to enable these types of experiences, and then obviously that ties into their investments in rooms and devices.
Okay, one more, and Brennan, you might want to disconnect and then jump back in because your audio is getting worse. And then we'll go to commercial break, and you'll be back in like 10 seconds. We can talk for 10 seconds. You're on mute,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but I think he's
I
going to be
think
right back.
I think to Brendan's point, we're going to talk about it later, but ISE was full of meetings that we had, not only about rooms and everything else, but also the places side. The places side seemed to drive a lot of customers' questions on what can I do now that we have this, now that we can take all of this data, and it's more than just rooms. Really, we've been talking for the fiscal year about the AI powered workplace. And now customers are starting to see that really come to fruition, and are starting to see that path down the road that finally has a place that we can get everything in.
Yep, for sure. No more music. No, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay, Higgs.
It's disappeared.
Okay, let's see if we have Brennan back already because he had a little bit of a technical
Technical
difficulty.
glitch.
Yeah, I think it's because you joined first, Higgsy, which means we're using Australian line now.
Oh,
Call.
but everyone's working over the backplane of Microsoft. It's all good. But it's
Remember,
true. I did join.
we have these sessions every month. If you signed up for this one, you automatically signed up for the next one. It is currently 1:30 a.m. in the morning for Higgsy, so he's gonna sit the next one out. You're gonna have to deal with Jimmy and myself. We have a nice guest on a topic that we got a lot of questions about. We'll keep it a secret until we get to the end of the deck for today. But you don't have to sign up. If you do know some of your peers that have not signed up for this session yet, please share the invite with them so they can join these sessions as well. We're not talking about any NDA stuff, so we are posting everything on the Teams Rooms and Tech Talk YouTube channel. On there, you will also find all of the streams from ISE. So we did
That's right.
12, 15 different sessions on the booth. Brennan did one as well. You'll find all of those in the playlist on the YouTube channel. I think Brennan's back. Brennan, can we take two more questions, and then I think you can you have a couple of more slides left.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Good stuff. Let me see. What difference does this make to the existing room finder and suggested locations function? It would be great if this gets native integration or of maps rather than third-party provider for accuracy. For instance, the suggested location is not helping at all. Thanks for the feedback. It picks 5 random rooms, though they are all hidden in gal. I think that might be a bug, but I think that's good to answer.
I think so. Two parts to that, and then Michelle, let me know if audio is still struggling. So apologies for
Still
that
struggling.
earlier. Okay. The first question to the first answer is there's improvements coming to those suggested rooms that will begin to take into consideration work plan location and other signals. So acknowledged the challenges of the past are not seeing the right room recommendations. And there's some additional improvements coming very quickly or very soon. The second answer is more about what was the other question, Michelle?
Second question was no. I think it was all related. We do have one more.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this is how I'm still tired. If a customer. Yeah, if a customer already has a Teams Rooms Pro license and an E3 or E5 for the users, they can deploy places at no extra cost. Is that correct?
From a room reservation experience, yes. Yeah. And from a room measurement experience, yes.
Good stuff. Okay, those are the questions for now. If you have more, then please put them in the Q&A.
So just to be clear on desks, there are 4 desk modes, and only the desks that need to be booked in advance are the ones that need to be licensed. So I think as we get into this, the little bit more of the details around the licensing, these drop-in desks, if I'm assigning, everybody has an assigned desk, or half my employees have assigned desk, technically, those users do not need to have a assigned license. Only when you want to measure and understand how that desk is being used is where that license is needed.
Yep, good stuff.
All right. Getting some background. I don't know where that was. So workplace check-in, peripheral check-in, this is included. So this is not a part of just coming into the office, plugging in your device, showing that you're in the office is all a part of it. If you have that first come, first serve experience or drop-in desk, this is just included in the current licensing. Only once again, if you need to book in advance and this is your check-in experience or you need the analytics, that's when the licensing gets applied. Most everybody knows and has seen the individual desk booking experience. So booking in advance is where this is important. But if I just want to see where Higgsy is on a map and Higgsy has an assigned desk, you don't need to have licensing for that specifically. And then just maybe once, like final kind of reminder or detail on this is if you want to book in advance multiple days into the future, this is really where the desks will need to be licensed. All right, a couple just quick roadmap slides. There are new items on the public roadmap. It's really important to kind of begin to see, okay, what's coming in the next 6 to 9 months. As you heard me say earlier, location intelligence, improved space reservation is fundamental to enabling these experiences. Enabling location intelligence across M365 and Copilot, and then broader extensibility. So we will be bringing, as on the public roadmap, as of last 2 weeks ago, a map-based room search experience into the modern calendar services later this summer. So not just let's get Places Finder enabled with pictures and attributes, but seeing that we'll now bring a map-based room search experience into calendar is pretty exciting and important here. So that's one big additional win that's coming. So as we begin to prepare for this change from Room Finder to Places Finder, we should start anticipating that the map can now show up in calendar as well. Along with that will come improvements into the way the filters, attributes of individual rooms, the devices in the rooms show up in that room search experience. So just further detail and information alignment between the way we think about places and enabling and supporting the devices that are across each of the rooms. Auto-detected location via Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was on the roadmap. We took it out. It's back on and it will ship here at the end of Q1, early Q2. Also another opportunity to begin to help customers prepare for enabling or organizing the BSS IDs such that we can enable these workplace presence focused experiences of who's here with me today via Wi-Fi. So we're excited to finally ship this, and this will have just a strong impact on the way we think about connecting with others in the workplace. Once again, this is you can opt out of this experience or opt into this experience at a user level. This is not something that everybody has to sign up for. And then maybe lastly, familiar with right-clicking on it, Higgsy, seeing his contact info, his org, his team, when he's available. We're adding profile cards for buildings, for rooms, and for desks. This is really exciting because it creates opportunity. This is really a canvas for what's important to me, what's relevant to me in this building, in this space. Is there something wrong with my desk? So V1 will be very, if the information's in the Places directory, it will start to show up on these cards. V2, later this year, will become more dynamic, more Copilot-based suggestions and other actions or links to partners across these cards. So we're really excited as you begin to kind of see how this all comes together. And what workplace and location intelligence really means is that these spaces have a proper home across M365 and Teams, and that you can begin to see and connect experiences and colleagues based off of understanding that what's going on around me today. This ties into events, it ties into kind of everything. So huge opportunity for partners to think about further extensibility in the future once we land this later this year. Naturally in Copilot, well, Copilot with this location context will understand who's in the office today that my office is building for. And then when I hover over that, just as you do with a colleague or another referenceable item, you're going to see the information attributed to that space. So you can begin to see how we power and enable these Copilot experiences. Lastly, there are new APIs available within Places directory as of, or available in Graph to support the Places directory and other experiences as of the end of December. Everybody should be familiar with the Places directory CRUD, but the three new ones are work hours and location, workplace presence, and the check-in signal. So understanding other opportunities for partner experiences and for customers to build upon that. A huge example is this workplace presence. If I'm badging into the building, should that be able to update my location in Teams? Technically now customers could go start to build that experience. So that's just one example of how we think about these patterns that are incredibly valuable to building a more vibrant workplace. For those that don't know our partners, these are partners helping us do that. We'll continue to grow and expand upon. This is really about enabling maps. So as our customers start looking to say, I don't need to pay for maps in Places, it's not a premium experience. How do we go enable those maps or tie into systems of record? There's these two fundamental patterns: mapping conversion partners or existing real estate systems of record. We're continuing to expand this list to work with to do that. So excited about this growing list of partners and appreciate the investment that these folks have made in Places. As always, we have a ton of resources. As mentioned earlier in the call, we'll continue to expand upon these, but the licensing announcement, Places office hours, monthly demo day are great resources to come and continue to engage with all of us as you support our customers in their journey. Higgsy, back to you.
Nice one. Thank you very much, Brennan.
Thank you, Brennan.
Much appreciated. All right,
Yes,
Michelle,
let me see if
let's
there's any questions in the
let's see.
Q&A. I don't think there. Oh, there's one. There's one more, Brennan, before you go. If an existing active device on a desk, like a monitor or a docking station, has a shared device license, will the customer get 3 additional shared spaces licenses for bookable desk as of April 1st?
They will not. No, you need to, that needs to be purchased independently with the purpose of enabling the shared space license for desks, for spaces.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you, Brennan. Thanks for everything you do for the community as well. If you want to see more, Brennan had a session at ISE. You can find that on the YouTube channel. Plus, I think Jimmy posted the link of the very detailed Places session that we did with Higgsy, Brennan, and myself, where we go through the full setup of Places. Higgsy, I was looking at some reports on agents the other day, and IDC is predicting 1.3 billion agents in the workforce by 2028. Whoa. That is only 2 years from now, and I'm very excited that we're seeing more and more agents, not just coming to M365 Copilot, but we also have more and more agents coming to Teams rooms, and I think we have a very special guest today to talk to us about one of these agents.
Absolutely. Yoojin, good morning to you. Welcome to our Teams Rooms, our AI-powered workplace expert series. First and foremost, quick introduction of who you are and what do you do at Microsoft?
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Yoojin Jung, product manager at Microsoft Teams Rooms, Windows, and Android team. Today, I'd like to introduce one of the AI capabilities on Teams Rooms, AI Interpreter at hybrid/online meetings on MTR on Windows.
Fantastic. Okay. If you want, you can take control of the slides and we can take us through to the next section.
Sounds good. So I'm going to the next slide, and actually I'm jumping right into the experience first. Visual is always easy, so let me start with this. Awesome. So yeah, I'd like to walk you through the experience. When you have the Teams Rooms on Windows, you join a meeting on your Teams Rooms on Windows, and you can turn on the feature Interpreter using More menu. So you go to the More menu and choose the language you want Interpreter to translate for you. Second, you can set how others hear your speech via Interpreter between simulated voice and automated voice. So when you use the voice simulation in Interpreter, translated speech is generated in your own voice. So other participants will hear translation as if you are speaking their language directly. So I'll explain how we are doing this in detail later. And coming back to this experience, once you turn on the feature, then the meeting stage, this was the setting that I told you. You can set that up for you when you turn on the feature. And once you turn this on, then the meeting stage shows the glowing indicator and tag saying you're being interpreted or this person is being interpreted. So you can know when the translation is done, when the indicators are gone. So there is some delays right now. Our interpreter team is working very hard to improve this latency, and this latency is different. Some languages have better latency, and other languages have room to improve. So we are still working on that. But please feel free to test this on your Teams rooms on Windows because it is available in GA today. So let me go to the logistics. Going back to the logistics. Okay. So
Can I ask a quick
as
question before you
Sure.
get into the logistics? Yeah. So you just showed a screenshot that showed the interpreter settings. And I see this in the client as well. So you can either simulate your own voice, which is really terrific because it's the first time that I heard Jimmy speak French to me, and especially when he wears the beret, it's great.
Oui,
So we exactly. So I like, and that's Jimmy's voice, right? And I do the demo all the time. But then you also have the option to automate the voice, which is more like a generic voice. You also spoke about latency. Is there a difference in latency at this point between and there's the beret with simulating the voice and doing the automated voice?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay, good. Jimmy, put the beret back on. Yeah. Okay, good stuff. So why would anyone not use their own voice and just the automated voice? What was the thinking behind having those two options?
So we set the simulated voice by default from Teams because when you have multiple people saying in the same voice, it'll be confusing. So you hear Jimmy and Andrew from same automated voice, then it'll be confusing unless you turn on your camera. So the simulated voice is pretty miraculous to hear this person's voice tone, characteristics in the voice in the translate language. So it helps users have better and natural communication.
I've been using this feature a lot, Michelle, and especially with my Japan audience, they speak Japanese to me. I can understand a bit of what they're saying, but it actually translated all into English for me. And the thing I love about it is that when it simulates your voice, I can speak Japanese, and the translated version of my voice sounds exactly the same. So it feels very natural. It sounds way more professional, but at the same time, though, it's just so great. And the simulation is for some language, it does feel close to real time, but for other languages, obviously that a bit more complex, like Japanese, then yeah, it does take a little bit longer to process those words to make sure it gets accuracy.
Okay, good. Let's get to the logistics.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Thanks for all the good questions. So, as I told you, this feature is available on Teams Rooms on Windows in general availability, GA, with the 5.5 release. And my favorite question, when this is available in Teams Rooms on Android. So I'm also working on that. It is coming in H1 2026 calendar year. So please stay tuned for that. The interpreter currently supports the languages English, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, simplified Chinese, Mandarin, Italian, German, French, and Korean. So these are the languages that the interpreter can output for the audience. And you don't need additional Copilot license on top of the Teams Rooms Pro license that you have for your MTR. And overall, across the teams, we have 20 hours of interpretation on per account, let's say per account, which is room account, and per month. So we are saying access beyond this threshold is subject to change. But today is 20 hours, and what happens if you exceed 20 hours? Actually, we are not blocking you from using this feature more than 20 hours today. So we are looking at observing the usage and the yeah, all the stories around it. So we will announce if there's any change onto this threshold. But now today, 20 hours, but nothing happens if you use more than that. And please let me know if you use more than 20 hours and you have feedback. I would love to hear that. And lastly, we don't store voice samples or biometric data on our cloud or like Azure like that. So let me just jump to how we are doing this real-time processing when you do the voice simulation. But any questions before that on the logistics?
No, I think
Okay.
there's no questions on it. Someone asked for learning docs on both
Yeah.
interpreter and facilitator. I think they're both on. Jimmy and I posted a couple of links. Also, for me, what really stands out is, and that's similar with facilitator, no additional Copilot license required. I think that's a big
Hmm.
one, especially on this call. We have all partners, right? So if you are a Teams Rooms partner, this is the opportunity to speak to your customers and show how Teams Rooms can be the gateway into the full M365 Copilot story and really take advantage of it. And I think it also helps us to kind of connect the Teams Rooms to the company brain instead of just the individual brain. So I think that's hope everyone picked that up. No additional Copilot license needed here.
Okay. So going back to the how we are doing this real-time processing without storing your voice data. So voice simulation that generates translated speech in your, let's say, your user's voice, allowing other participants to hear translation as if they're speaking their language directly. So when a user turns on this feature interpreter, the system briefly analyzes the short segments of your speech on the fly, which is real time, to simulate your unique tone, style, and voice characteristics. So in short, we don't store any voice samples or biometric data to provide this voice simulation. Let me know if you have any questions on this tech. It's beautiful that in this AI era, we don't store any data, which could be sensitive.
Absolutely.
Okay,
No questions so
then
far.
awesome. So admin settings, Teams Rooms is managed by our IT admins very closely. So I'd like to introduce the related admin settings. So we fully respect the tenant setting. So this tenant setting is where you apply policy for your tenant. So you can control whether your organization can use interpreter. It's enabled by default. So this policy affects not only Teams Rooms, desktop client, mobile client, it's just users in your tenant. So this, you can control on and off this feature across your tenant. And you can select the default voice option for how user speech is heard. As I said, between the simulated voice and automated voice, simulated voice is the default for natural communication, but you might have sensitive reasons you want to use the automated voice. So we are providing about 5 automated voice, female, male, neutral like that. So feel free to explore on that. And we don't provide any device level settings in Pro Management Portal today. And yeah, you already got the link, but this is a link where you can learn more about admin settings. Okay. So lastly, I wanted to confirm any unsupported scenarios. So this is the same across any clients. Like just this feature is not available in meetings with more than 1,000 participants and unscheduled one-on-one calls like PSTN and town halls, webinars, and also the Teams rooms on Android. And maybe you might try to use the personal peripherals like headsets, earbud in Teams rooms conference room, but that is working technically, but we are preparing to announce any like recommendation around that scenario. So lastly, the Microsoft Teams free. These are the areas that we are working on, not saying this is going to be never available on these scenarios. So please stay tuned for upcoming announcements.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Very exciting.
Eugene, before we jump into, I'm sure you've got some tips for us to be able to make sure that
Right.
we have the most effective experience with this. I just want to highlight the power that this brings when you're working across multiple geographies. When you've got, Michelle who's speaking Dutch and Jimmy who's speaking French, I'm speaking Japanese, and we've got someone else who's speaking English, and we're all in different parts of the world. You're setting the language for the room, meaning that whilst everyone else is speaking their native language, you're only hearing the language that you're expecting to hear. Meaning everyone's going to be talking to me, for example, if I'm expecting English, everyone else could be talking a different language that are supported languages, and I can hear those languages in my native tongue, which is just an absolute superpower. And again, this isn't just you have to choose one language for the whole meeting; it's multiple languages getting translated in near real time.
Correct.
All
Okay.
right,
I
let's
don't
go
think
through
we
some
have.
tips.
Yeah, I don't think we have any other questions.
Great.
Not yet.
Good
Okay.
stuff. Well, thank you
So,
so much for joining us
I
today.
No, not
Yeah, go
yet. We're
ahead.
going to go through the tips. We're going to go through the
Oh,
tips,
good.
Michelle.
Oh, shoot.
the slide looks the same. It's okay. No worries
Hmm.
here. So let me just walk you through the last slide of how you can leverage this feature, but have a better experience using these tips. So speak one language at a time. People can say multiple languages at one meeting, but at a time, don't try to speak another of different languages. Like Andrew can say many languages, but you should try only one language at a time. So stick to the single language, especially if you're bilingual, and be clear and concise, meaning you may want to use shorter sentence for helping this interpreter do the job better, and pause frequently. Like long one sentence is generally not a good sentence, so we want to encourage you use the short sentences, pause frequently, and to simplify any like jargon or technical language, internal language, to improve the quality of the interpretation. And raise your hand to indicate when you want to speak, because this interpretation takes time depending on like the duration may different depending on the language that the audience is hearing to. Especially just by looking at the text, in the length of English and length of, let's say, Korean is different. So the output of the interpretation is different as well. So you see the indicator is glowing when you are being interpreted. So when you want to chime in, different person, then you want to raise your hand to make it clear that you want to speak once the interpretation is done, and then allow interpretation to finish. The Looking at the indicator is the key for better communication using this feature. That was it.
It's wonderful. Thank you so much, Eugene, and really appreciate the enormous effort that was to bring this agent to the meeting room. It's such a cool feature, such cool tech, and it's something that you just got to experience in real time.
Thank you.
Yeah, so again, to emphasize, we see a question coming in for meeting with interpreter. All attendees must have a Copilot license. If you are using interpreter on Teams rooms, you do not need an additional license. So no Copilot license required there. Okay, good. Let's jump into. Thank you for joining today. Let's go into our next topic, Higgsy.
For sure,
It's
we've got Elaine, who's also joined us from our product team as well. Let's bring Elaine up onto the stage. We want to make sure that you get spotlighted.
Yes.
Elaine, before you
All up-
start, I just want to tell a little bit of a story. And this is a story about Microsoft internal usage in the Netherlands. So you're here today to speak to us about voice enrollment. Voice enrollment didn't get activated in the Netherlands because there were some privacy concerns from our workers' council. And so the great people on Elaine's team had a conversation with the workers' council, and they finally got it approved. Now, when we speak to customers, they tell us they love voice enrollment, but at the same time, they also have some concerns about biometrics being stored. And I think, Elaine, you're here today to give us some fabulous news on some of the new enhancements to voice enrollment.
You got it, Michelle. Maybe I should say exactement. My French is terrible, so if anyone was using AI translator, it probably didn't sound that great. I spent my earlier years in Montreal and, proper Quebecois French, but as an adult, probably not as fluent anymore. But regardless, not here today to speak about French or speak in French too. But yes, definitely want to speak to everyone here about enrollment. I know it's a very hot topic. I think it was even a couple of years back when I was in London, when I first met you, Michelle, and we were just talking about enrollment already. It was crazy how there were so many questions, and I think as soon as we launched a lot of the support documentation and started talking about it in more forums, I think that's where we really saw the click with people being like, wow, okay, this is how this works, and most importantly, what does it actually unlock for your organization? So with the presentation today, this morning it'll be with just me. In the afternoon, if you're joining that, I'll be with my colleague Persa as well. But very excited to talk to you about really how, as meeting rooms get smarter, right, and Copilot plays a bigger role in these spaces, how voice enrollment supports that. And the premise of today's conversation will be focused on really three things. The first one will be what is the user value, right, in those meeting spaces, and what does that look like in recaps? I want to talk to you about what is our upcoming low friction enrollment model that we have. So it's been announced on roadmap. I know there's a lot of questions there. And I think just overall, wanting to remind folks what is the privacy, security, and admin controls that we have here today. So as we go, I am using one monitor, so I'll try to monitor the chat as I present, but
We got you.
we'll take it from here.
We got you. Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We got you. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so let me just get to the first one here. So first things first, right? I think just as a first refresher, when you enroll your voice or face today, teams can use that voice profile and face profile to accurately recognize you. This is especially fundamental in shared spaces or noisy working areas. The first major feature is really it helps you get voice isolation turned on. And so I'm actually speaking from a really noisy office in New York, Times Square. If you saw the promo video back then, that was actually me speaking in Times Square as well. And I can attest, voice isolation actually filters out every single person's voice behind me. As long as it doesn't match my voice, perfect. The remote audience can't even hear it, which is great. Secondly, it also enables speaker attribution or speaker recognition. So this really allows for those of you who are joining from, the shared meeting spaces, we can now properly identify, hey, it's actually, Higgsy that's speaking versus Elaine that's speaking. And this makes your transcripts, recaps so much more accurate. And as a user, whether you're in the meeting or even outside of the meeting, you can now leverage Copilot and Facilitator to sort of tap back to that meeting, right? And say, hey, what was Higgsy's opinion on X topic? And now you have the intelligence that you can grab from speaker recognition. So ultimately, I think the big theme here that all of us were really talking about before is the better AI assistance user experience, right? So with more accurate recaps, you'll have clearer action items, you'll have richer meeting context, which really enables your workforce to be performing at their best. And you'll get the intelligent audio and video experiences that will be available across all the certified devices and meeting rooms as a result. So as a reminder, all profiles are always encrypted, protected, and handled under Microsoft's enterprise security and privacy practices. And so we'll go into that a little bit, but yeah, again, a good refresher on what really you can get when you're enrolling your voice and face in Teams.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and I think just kind of going on the theme of a refresher, and it'll go into Express enrollment really well. But today, for a user, if they are trying to, enroll their voice, you may get a pop-up on the side that says, "Hey, did you want to take advantage of these features I just mentioned?" Right, and that directs you to the recognition settings. The recognition settings is where you can do what we are referring to as active enrollment. So it does require the user to perform this manually, where once they opt in, they can create their voice profile, and here you can read a script, right? And this allows you to generate a voice clip that then we can create a voice signature from. So this is great because as a user, you can immediately get the benefits of voice isolation and speaker attribution. And with that, we are actually delivering an enhancement to this that will make this a lot easier, which is what we call Express Voice Enrollment. So let me get into that here. With
Elaine, we got so many fun questions. Oh, one really fun question in chat. I'll save it for later, but just be prepared, okay?
Sounds good. I'll grab some coffee in advance, and I'm kidding. But yes, so with Express Voice Enrollment, we're positioning this really as an enhancement because the existing way, which is again active enrollment, that doesn't go away. But what we've heard a lot from our customers and users really is, hey, like active enrollment, it takes maybe a couple minutes, but it's still something that I need to do from a task perspective. I need to isolate time from my already super busy schedule to go and enroll my voice just so I can take advantage of these features. It sounds fine and dandy, but can I make this easier, right? And what we've done now is we are delivering what we're calling as Express Enrollment. So it allows a user to opt in directly from this coach mark that you're seeing here. And here we're using your natural speech during your real meetings to generate that voice profile. So this is much more accurate because rather than having, me, stand up straight, so to speak, record my voice, and this is probably in a call it more presentation mode type of recording. We're actually now generating that voice profile from real world meeting conditions. And it makes it so much more accurate when you think back to, again, all the amazing features I talked about before, right? And a key distinction here is with regards to biometric data being handled here, because this is recorded using your in-meeting speech from your meetings directly, we're not actually saving the audio clip to generate that voice profile. Anytime we need to make an update, so it is triggered based off of a need. So if a new model for voice isolation requires a newer version of a voice signature, we would actually pull back the same process to regenerate that voice profile. So essentially, we're continuously upgrading as needed. But this, again, allows us to create the voice signature using real-world meeting conditions, and most importantly, doesn't store the audio clip anymore, which I think for a lot of tenants, when we first started enabling enrollment, was a big factor for them when it came to getting that set up.
Yeah, that's a big one. So I think this is the time to ask that question. The problem we start with the problem. The problem with voice enrollment in Europe is GDPR and ISO certifications. And then there's a thing about US laws and US authority, which I think is a whole separate topic. We'll leave that for later. In terms of being compliant with laws in other parts of the world outside of the US, how do you handle that? And I think not saving the biometrics is a big one here. But I think we also need to make sure the audience here understands what we are using to make sure that that the data is stored.
Yeah, so first things first, this functionality, enrollment all up, is GDPR compliant. I think that was the big one, especially when I was in London. That was a huge question for me. The second piece is everything, when it comes to the security of it, I think a good comparison is how your inbox and how your messages are stored. Again, is using top-notch Microsoft security. The same type of encryption is also applied to your voice enrollment as well. So when it comes to regions, when it comes to the way that this was already set up in enrollment, active enrollment today, introducing express enrollment doesn't actually change that either. This is really just an enhancement. So think of it as a separate way that you can also enroll and ultimately update your voice signature. But the way that biometric data has been handled, even when we were set up with active enrollment, does not change with this functionality.
So how do you then match the person or the voice with whatever is enrolled? Because we're not storing the underlying audio clip anymore. So it's a technical audience. You can go a little bit deeper if you want to. How are we actually solving this?
Yeah, so the first thing is when it comes to the voice signature, how this is generated successfully, there's a couple steps. So once a user opts in, it does take a couple meetings for us in order to successfully generate. And what we do in those meetings is we actually, let's call it 2 meetings or even 3 meetings. There's a temporary voice signature that's created, and this is under a couple of conditions first. We make sure this isn't a one-to-one call because we're assuming this might be, more of a private conversation. Maybe you have a one-on-one, right, with your manager. Probably not something you necessarily want recorded. We also want to make sure this isn't a meeting from a shared endpoint. So, for example, a meeting room or a BYOD scenario, but you're ultimately a user that's participating in a larger meeting, so to speak, maybe like 5-10 people or so, and we are detecting more than 30 seconds of speech generated from that person. So at that point where the eligibility criteria is met, right, we generate a temporary voice signature from those meetings. So we typically take at least 2, if not 3 meetings, and then we do a comparison to see what's a similarity between those. Once we do have a similarity match, that's where we can say, okay, Elaine has 2 temporary voice signatures. We've hit our similarity threshold that we need. Given that this similarity threshold is met, we have higher confidence that this is actually Elaine speaking and not someone from your background that really had like a really loud voice, right? Voice isolation isn't on yet, right? So unfortunately, we can't filter out those voices. But once we have the voice signature, then we can, again, use that voice signature to verify against all the background noise and voices.
Can you do that, Elaine, with, so if I've already enrolled my voice, do I still get the option to opt in and so that it continuously obviously improves and learns?
Correct. Yeah. There is a couple pieces. So again, like I said, active enrollment will be available today. And so if you go through the scripted or like the recording, right, that you do on your own, that method and ultimately the recorded audio, so the ability to export, storing a recorded audio doesn't change. But when you go into, when you opt in into the Express enrollment, that's where you now have the option to remove the export and you can just leverage the continuous upgrades to upgrade your voice signature moving forward.
Awesome. I don't want to get ahead to the slides too much for you because I know you've got some more information coming up about privacy and so forth. So
yes, and I definitely want to touch a little bit more on, I think even Kyle at ISE talked a lot about the controller processor model, right? And I think ultimately what has been a really big win with Express Enrollment is without that audio clip or the stored audio clip, one, a really big win because right away, I think the biggest concern, honestly, was having users with the ability to export. Again, it's all within your own PC, but let's say the user gave their password to someone else, right? Then that's, I think, where there were some concerns coming up on how do we make sure we protect our users better. And so without the audio clip, again, a really big win with, I think, even a lot of legal conversations. And depending on each of the tenants' sort of organization, they also have the ability to turn off active enrollment as well because Express enrollment will be available through a separate configuration. I think I know a couple comments here, like such as CISO would really love a meeting. Happy to meet with them too. But let me get into the next slide, and hopefully that will answer some final questions.
Yep.
Okay, so I think the slide is showing up here. So like I said, right, even with Express Enrollment, the existing way on how we're handling biometric data, there's no change to that. Profiles are always stored encrypted and they're non-reversible identity signatures. And so what that really means is those voice signatures are only used for Teams purposes, Teams rooms features, and that's it. These voice signatures are always stored in region, and as an IT admin, you never have the ability to export them. Only the user that's enrolling and going through active enrollment will have the ability to export. And like I said, we follow a very clear controller and processor model where we want to make it very clear that the customer owns the data, right? And you set the policies. You can turn on the functionality that also leverages the voice signatures as well. On Microsoft side, we're really processing the data only as authorized. And so that is a fundamental framework that we follow with all the enhancements that we have coming up, even from the IT admin control perspective. With regards to consent, while the policies are default on enabled as we roll out these features, it's always consent-based, as in the users must always consent before any type of enrollment is started. And finally, with regards to profiles and of course deletion, I think that's always a big question as we go through these presentations. So profiles are automatically deleted when a user unenrolls. If there's an account deletion that's initiated by the IT admin, or even after 1 year of inactivity, if we see those profiles aren't used, we automatically delete them as well. And so what that means is for the user, they would actually have to go back and re-enroll as required.
Fantastic.
Sounds good. There is a go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'll just wait for you to finish because there's a question that you might have the answer for it in your slides. Just keep going and I'll save it for later.
Got it. Okay, I think one really exciting thing that we have with regards to IT admin control, and I think this was actually one of the biggest asks that we had too, was where can we actually have visibility on who's enrolled? Can I also, have better control of deleting those enrollments? Those were really the two core pieces of feedback that we heard from a lot of IT admins. And what I'm excited to announce is coming up, I think actually next month, is we'll actually be delivering a dashboard. So think of it as a dashboard here specifically for enrollment where you can see who's actually enrolled, both voice and face. And as an IT admin, you now have the ability to delete the voice profile. You can also monitor, how enrollments have been going up. And so for those who are trying to run campaigns internally, right, or trying to promote the usage of these features, you now have that visibility to do so. As an IT admin, again, you never have the ability to export any of that biometric data. Deletion is the only action that you have available. And like I said, if the employee decides to leave the company, right, those voice and face profiles are always deleted as a part of account deletion and following the timelines that I had shared in the earlier slide. So super excited again to announce that this functionality will be available. We're targeting for general availability as of next month. So you should be able to see that whether you're in TAP or GA coming up very soon.
That's amazing. So you've done two things that help drive the adoption of voice enrollment, which we all appreciate, having voice isolation and obviously being recognized in meetings. So expediting the ability for people to be able to enroll their voice, but also giving IT admins the ability to see inside their organization who's actually enrolled their voice, and being able to encourage teams to get them to either manually or what was it? Was it active? No, active
Express.
enrollment. It was Express.
Yeah, active enrollment and Express.
Active enrollment and Express enrollment. Yeah, I think it's just absolutely fantastic. Sorry, Michelle, you were going to jump in.
No, yeah, I was gonna ask you, do we have any and mind you, we're gonna post this on YouTube, so don't say anything that you can't share openly. Any data on what this did for adoption within our own company at Microsoft? Like, did we see a big spike in voice enrollment? Because I think everyone will understand more and more the importance of being able to recognize people in meetings. So I think it's important in companies to have as many people with a voice enrollment. Did we see anything in Microsoft once we activated this? Did we see an increase in adoption?
Yeah, I can't share exact numbers, I will say, but with regards to Express enrollment and the much more simplified user experience, absolutely. I think to your point, right, Michelle, like so many people now are getting much more awareness on voice isolation, number one. I think that definitely is the feature that really resonates with people. Even in Times Square, right? I'm like talking to folks all the time and I'm like, hey, you should enroll. Use voice isolation. And right away, I see a huge uptake and really strong interest in folks. Speaker attribution, especially those that are taking more meeting now from meeting rooms. I think for a lot of organizations, you're also looking at potential RTO type policies, right? So the shared space and really enabling the recognition from shared spaces is becoming a really hot topic for a lot of folks too.
Is this gonna? No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say we are actually going to TAP. Should be sometime this month. So a lot of organizations within the TAP program will also have access to the functionality and start really previewing it as well.
Nice, and I think we announced GA somewhere around March on the blog. What was
That's
I
right.
gonna ask? Oh yeah, is this gonna help us eventually? And again, we're posting this on YouTube, so don't say anything that's strict roadmap stuff, NDA stuff. Are we gonna be able to use this to increase the amount of participants that can be recognized in a Teams room? And is it going to change anything to the way we're currently doing voice recognition in those shared spaces as well? Meaning you now have to be invited to the meeting in order for the voice profile to be loaded. Or is this method going to eventually be able to help us to find other ways to load the voice profiles into different meetings? And again, don't share anything you can't share.
Yeah, I will say those questions are probably best for Parissa, unfortunately. What I will say is I know every single day the team is looking at how do we make enrollment easier. So whether it be making even potentially removing that invitation limitation, right? Because as we get into again more organizations returning to the office, just having I would say a much more hybrid meeting capable environment too. Um, the team is constantly thinking about how do we just make this easier, both in and outside of meetings too. So I think Parissa will be able to share a little bit more once we get into the actual functionality and the deliverables. But all I can say is if that was a blocker for you, it'll definitely be a lot easier within the next half year.
Okay, good stuff. One more question.
Yeah.
Do we have any limit from someone on the call? Do we have any limit options for voice isolation? For example, for guests within our tenant, what happens? What happens with those, and can they use it?
I'm trying to understand the guests within our tenant scenario. Are we talking about like, let's say a contractor is working within your organization? Is that kind of?
That's what it sounds like, yeah. And whoever
Yeah.
asked the question, we cannot see your name, so maybe you can clarify if it's a different scenario. Let's just go with contractor, and then if it's something different, I'm sure you'll pop in the chat and answer it later.
Yeah. So ultimately, if it's, let's say, again, a contractor, right, and they're working within your organization, they will also have the ability to enroll and have voice isolation working. A quick refresher on how voice isolation works is after enrollment, that voice signature, we have a local copy that's actually on your PC. And that's really how voice isolation works within meetings. We sort of verify within the copy that's on the local PC and just make sure that any background noise or voice that's coming through, if it matches the voice signature, that's the only audio that we would allow into the room of meeting. So whether that user is a guest or internal, that capability will always be available for that end user.
Good stuff. I think that was the last one we had so far. Yeah, that was it.
That's all right.
Awesome.
We've got Q&A at the end as well. So if there's any additional questions, Elaine and Yoojin and Brennan, we're all going to be here at the end to answer any additional questions that come through.
Yeah, I think I'll just maybe quickly and tee it up here, like really the three pillars I would say that we think about from a recognition perspective is, of course, from a user, right? Like how do we make sure they have their voices heard clearly? How do we make sure they have personalization, more accuracy when it comes to representation in meetings, and of course, what are the AI scenarios that we can support them, and that's really one of the key learning blocks. For remote attendees, I think the key value is, of course, knowing who's in the room even and who's speaking. That will also power their AI experiences too. And the last part being the IT admins, we're always making sure from a control perspective, you have full capabilities to be able to turn on, off all the knobs for your organization, because we understand that every organization is different. So with that, I think, yeah, I'll take more questions. I'll try to answer them async. And if anything comes up during the Q&A section, happy to chat more. But thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate you.
Had a problem.
That was awesome.
See, there comes the French lady again.
All right, Michel, we are into the final stretch now. I know that we were going to say that we're going to finish early, but we've got so much to get through. There's so many great announcements.
Yeah, we'll get
all right,
there.
You want to take control, and then we'll go through these next sections.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me take control. Okay, so let's talk ISE announcements. We hear that sometimes it's been difficult to manage, especially resource accounts, because basically, if you look at a resource account, you kind of set it up like a user. But at ISE, we made some changes to that with the new resource account. Maybe you can explain a little bit, Higgsy, and then I'll try and take control again. Explain a little bit about the changes that we announced last week.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we've also identified is that the people are still using just standard user accounts, and resource accounts are the superpower behind shared spaces. Resource accounts, we're doing a couple of things that are going to help increase the security of these accounts, making it reducing some of the friction around password rotations and so forth. And one of the things that we've identified is that for us to be able to do this, we're going to be able to introduce a migration for the meeting room accounts to transition to these new resource accounts. One, we want to remove passwords, getting rid of passwordless. So getting rid of passwords. So passwordless sign in, and they'll be using what we call a secured key-based authentication, which also does a regular rotation as well, so that when devices reboot, they automatically sign back in again. There isn't this going back and forth of querying. They're not sharing usernames and passwords. And the best part of this is it makes sure that those organizations that have that enforced password policy rotation, that can be eliminated by using this method that we have now, the super secure resource accounts. Now, again, these are specific accounts that are not user accounts. We're not using user accounts anymore. We're using specific purpose-built resource accounts for Teams rooms. And we've also got on here as well a migration plan for effectively a tool inside of the Pro Management Portal that's going to help your organization, as well as also your customers, to be able to migrate to this new flavor of resource accounts. Michel, anything to add?
And I do think that when the first time you install, if you don't go the autopilot route, obviously, the first time you do have to log in with the username and password. Once you've done that, it automatically switches over to this new Entra resource account, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, that is my understanding as well. So when you'll have the ability to leverage this, the Pro Management Portal, drill into the resource accounts, you can see which ones you've marked to be migrated and schedule those migrations. Kind of like you build your own migration plan for each of these resource accounts. You might be, go in like a cowboy, select all your resource accounts and migrate them overnight. I probably wouldn't do that, but you have the power, you have the ability to really have a staged migration, and so it's giving you as a partner control, as well as also the customers the ability to take control of how they want to migrate their devices. Super awesome update. So great to see, increasing security posture, which is super paramount for us as Microsoft, but also for value that you can bring to your customers as well. But it's not just that, Michel, we're also bringing other capabilities to the Pro Management Portal as well.
Yeah, so there's going to be new room utilization analytics in the Pro Management Portal, so you can see capacity, room size, people count. There's a lot of stuff coming to Pro Management Portal over the next couple of months. If you were at ISE, you might have heard a couple of things that weren't officially announced yet, but we're investing a whole ton in the Pro Management Portal. And I think this is really going to help you to understand how are your spaces being used. And I think that's a big opportunity for you as a partner to help your customer to make the right decision on what equipment to use, or maybe even change some of the meeting room layouts or setups based on how those rooms are being used. Interrupt is something that keeps coming back as well, Higgsy.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we've get probably number one question over the last 2 to 3 years, I would say, Michel, that we've been talking about this. I know Jimmy gets this question all the time, is when are we going to be able to get support for direct guest join for Google? So Google Meet has been on the cards for quite some time, and two-way direct guest join between Google Meet and Teams rooms on Windows is coming. And we're very excited to announce this. We've got Zoom, we've got WebEx, we've got Amazon Chime, and now we've got Google Meet now coming to the table as well. Secondary to that, as well as also got some integrations with Town Hall, with Teams rooms as well. So Town Hall previously was pending support for presenters as well as also participants as well, to be able to take place inside of a meeting. Now we've got the presenter view set up on our Teams rooms device. We're able to manipulate layouts as well with some enhanced features and customizing our experience for the end for the remote attendees as well. So really excited to see that as well. But there's a lot more coming to town halls. And sorry, digital signage as well, Michelle.
Yeah, so it's already available on Teams Rooms on Windows, but shipping this half, you'll also get digital signage support for Teams Rooms on Android, still with Zogo and AppSpace, but now that feature is coming to Android as well this half, which I think is something that a lot of people have asked about. You can already imagine if it's working in a room, maybe it's also going to work on other Android devices that you might be using in or near your meeting room. Last
We really
one, I
are seeing
think
that. Yeah, I was going to say, Michelle, we really are seeing that feature gap really narrow down between Android and Teams rooms on Windows. So yes, speaking of the narrowing of those features, let's talk convergence. So Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal being that single pane of glass for managing all of your Teams rooms on Android and Teams rooms on Windows devices, plus also Teams Phone and panels. We are looking to bring this functionality, especially for Teams rooms on Android later this year. So looking at in the second half of this year, Q3 of calendar year, that we will see Android devices landing inside the Pro Management Portal, similar to how you've been managing Windows devices today, update rings, device health, and beyond. So the convergence is, as we call it, of Android and Windows coming together under the Pro Management Portal and leaving Teams Admin Center. Your device management will be Pro Management Portal from that point onwards. Again, Teams Rooms on Android, Teams Rooms on Windows, panels, and also Teams Phone as well.
So regardless of the license, and like Higgsy said, the transition of all these Android device management from rooms to panels to phones is planned to roll out in the second half of this year. So that Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal really becomes a one-stop shop portal for deploying and managing your Teams Rooms devices, regardless of the operating system or the manufacturer. So I think that is a very exciting one. Which brings us to talk about next month. First of all, thanks to everyone for sticking around for the full hour and a half so far. We didn't have any people dropping off, which is great. That's a good sign. A question that I've been hearing a lot at ISE is, what's this MDEP thing? And I think we're going to take a full hour and a half next month to go deep. Jimmy, be prepared for all the MDEP stuff. Next month, we're going to go into MDEP management with Yoav, who's the principal PM for MDEP, and he's going to give us all the ins and outs.
There's been a lot of updates to the MDEP platform in the past couple of months. Yoav did a session with us, probably it'll be nearly 12 months ago now. And you can just imagine just how many new device manufacturers are on board now with MDEP. As a refresher, MDEP is not just a Teams Rooms on Android product. MDEP is a whole Android suite for devices. It's not just locked to, obviously, Microsoft devices. There are third-party vendors getting on board with MDEP as the core operating system for their devices. And so this is really an exciting opportunity to learn more about how do we actually approach this? How do we manage these devices? It could be third-party platforms that are being leveraged but are running on MDEP. But really what we want to highlight here is the advantages of MDEP using the Intune suite, as well as also Teams Rooms Pro Management Portal and managing these devices, and what it really means for our OEM partners that are all on board now with going all in on building a secure Teams rooms on Android device. So yeah, really looking forward to that. The dates are on the screen. The links are there for you to click on to register. As I mentioned at the start of the session, what we do is at the end of the session, because it's currently live at the moment, we will move this session out to the date that you see on the screen, and then you can share the registration link with your colleagues and say, yeah, now register for for the series. Again, only have to register once. We move it out. Keep that rolling. So yeah, that's what we're doing in March 10th for those in Americas and EMEA, and then a little bit later for ANZ, APAC, and India.
Good, very exciting. Looking forward to it. Elaine, are you still on? I just remembered that I had a question for you. Are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. There was the CISO question, because I think you're about to get 100 meetings pushed onto your calendar because partners want to talk with you and their customer. Are you in the team preparing something like a white paper that we might be able to share with partners that they can use to cover all these questions on voice enrollment?
Yes, so that is in the works right now. Our existing documentation should also be up to date with the latest. Express Enrollment is the one that we're making edits as we speak, so that should be rolled out with GA as well. And so those are, the typical IT admin and customer-facing end user documentation that we have, and then absolutely the white paper, which should include more in-depth information that will be especially helpful when it comes to internal conversations, like with legal teams, your development teams, etc.
Okay, good. Thank you. I think that's going to be super useful to everyone here on the call to use that. We have two more questions, Higgsy, in the Q&A. For Google Meet direct guest join, any network requirements, destination, endpoint URLs, IPs, and port listed somewhere? Question mark.
Yeah, so we always have our list of IPs and public DNS names that we obviously keep updated all the time. Fun tip, by the way, for those technical, which is everyone here, is that we now have an RSS feed of all these IPs and also DNS names. So when we make a change to that, using an RSS feed on your, I think Palo Alto support it, Cisco support RSS feeds, you can now build your firewall rules to include RSS feeds and to be able to pull all the latest and greatest from Microsoft's M365 IPs and DNS names. But yes, we obviously have all of the Google Meet direct guest join URLs added to that there as well, as with Zoom and also Amazon Chime as well. So I will get the link for you unless someone's there. We go.
Yeah, no,
it looks like
Jimmy,
Jimmy's already thrown it.
Jimmy posted the link in the chat. And then we have one more. As a partner, will we be able to manage devices in the Pro Management Portal via our partner portal or Lighthouse? I know that's an Azure term. Currently, we have to use an account in the customer. There is a multi-tenant management portal. If you are a AI-powered workplace program partner, please reach out to your local team to see if we can help and give you access to that. Let me see if there's anything else. Otherwise, nope, I think so. I think that's it. Higgsy, thank you again, especially for doing this for the folks in EMEA and US. I know it is currently, what is it, 1:30?
It is 2:30 right now.
Oh, 2:30. Thanks to all the folks in Redmond for getting up a little bit earlier. Thanks to the folks on the East Coast for being here with us this morning as well. For all of you in Europe, enjoy your dinners, and we're looking forward to seeing you next month on MDEV Management. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the evening.